Hi, I'm David James and you're watching the Redmen TV.
I'm Ped from Toffee TV. I'm here for the Redmen to review Liverpool's 11 from the Aston Villa game. So this might be your best 11. It probably isn't, but I'm here to review it. Let's start with Mignolet in goal. Yeah. It's weird one, Mignolet. When he signed for Liverpool, I thought he was going to be a really top player, and I think he started well, but he had a bit of a dodgy period last season, didn't he, where he went out to the team, and then I think it was Jones, he got an injury, so he was straight back in the team, and it was almost like that kick up the arse gave him what he needed. I still don't think he's a top-class goalkeeper, and I think Liverpool will be looking for a goalkeeper, and there's rumours that they are looking for a goalkeeper. So I would probably give him 6 out of 10, if I'm being generous. I think he's a little bit dodgy, but, you know, he'll do you. In the back, Emre Can, I like this lad. I like him a lot. I think his hair is magnificent. Absolutely magnificent. But he's also a good footballer. One day, maybe his position will be established. There's a lot of talk, about him going back to Germany and playing for Bayern Munich, maybe playing centre back. But one day it'll be established. So, but I think he's a top class player. I don't think he's fully settled on his role or he has that consistency yet. But he's definitely top class in the making. So I will give him 7.5 out of 10. Scale. He's a weird one. I think he's one of those players that if he plays for you, you love him, but if he doesn't, you just look at him and go, "What are you all about?" On his day, he can be a top class defender. He can look like a hard case. On other days, he looks absolutely weak as piss, and a bit of a laughing stock. So I think he's someone who needs someone next to him to organise him at times as well. So I would give him 6.5 out of 10. Sacco, he's another weird one. I don't know. I know you all love him and think he's Scouse and stuff, but he come from Paris Saint-Germain, and when Paris Saint-Germain were building the top team, I think that all would have got my alarm bells going from the start. He was, I think he captained Paris Saint-Germain on his debut or something silly like that. I think he's a good player. I think he's got pace, he's got strength. I think he just lacks concentration at times. He reminds me of when we had Yobo, to be honest. He just lacks that little bit of concentration. Very good defender on his day, but he can be got at. I think we missed a massive trick last season at Goodison Park that we just didn't get him at him enough. Because sometimes when he's got the ball in possession, I just think he just wants to get it away from him as quickly as possible. So I would give him 6.75 out of 10. Klein, top class player. Really, really liked him when he was at Southampton. Think he's England's best right back. He's a definite 8 out of 10 player. Liverpool should probably use him in his best position rather than mess about with him, because he is a top class right back. He's got everything a modern right back needs. He's a good defender. He can get forward really well. He can score goals. He showed that last season when playing for Southampton at Anfield. So he's another one. I think once he beds in, I think Liverpool have got a massive asset in there. So I think definitely 8 out of 10. James Milner. I've always liked James Milner. I think James Milner is a very, very underrated player, a very maligned player at times. I think he can play in so many roles. I think that was his biggest problem at Manchester City. They just couldn't define a role for him. And also because he's a very understated character as well. So they didn't necessarily think... Well, they probably thought, well, we can get away with not playing this lad this week because he won't kick up a fuss. But one of their really expensive foreign players will kick up a fuss. I think he's integral to England going forward in the next couple of years. I think he'll do big things for Liverpool as well. It's already shown. I think he's the vice captain, obviously captain moment Henderson out. So he's another one. I would definitely say 8 out of 10. Lucas, I like Lucas. It's weird. Liverpool always seem to be in a flux about selling him. He's weird because every time a manager says, well, he's not going to play, he ends up playing and ends up being one of Liverpool's best players. So, there was a time when he was absolutely integral to the way Liverpool played. He allowed players like Gerrard to get forward, and I think he's a really good player. I think he's dropped off with age a little bit in the last couple of years, but definitely a 7.5 out of 10 player for me. Mourinho, don't know. I don't know. What can you say? He's a weird player. For a Spanish fella, he's properly scouse looking. You just think he should be wearing trackies and 110s all the time. He's ginger. He's got that going for him. He's fast. Yeah, gets forward. Doesn't get forward enough though. We've seen last season when he played against Spurs. I think it was one of his first away games. His goal was sensational. Doesn't repeat that enough. Doesn't get forward enough. Maybe because his role keeps on changing the team. I'm not 100% sure, but Liverpool just don't seem to have got the best out of him yet, which can be said about a lot of Liverpool players. Maybe that's why a lot of people want to see Brendan Rodgers leave. I'm not sure, but I don't know if they get the best out of him. Again, he could be an 8 player, but I think at the moment he's a 7 player. Coutinho, Big Phil or Little Phil, whichever way you look at it. A player that when he was brought in from Inter Milan, a lot of people said, "What are you doing? He's got nothing going for him. Physically, he won't last in the Premier League." He's proved a lot of people wrong. He is a really, really good player when he wants to be. I don't think he does it enough. I don't think he grabs enough games by the scruff of the neck and takes them on and makes them their own. But maybe he'll do that in the years coming forward as he plays more consistently and maybe the team is a little bit built around him a lot more. Maybe when he plays a little bit more for Brazil as well, maybe he needs that longing of being in there every week for Brazil as well. I would definitely have him as a 9 out of 10 player. I think he just needs to be more consistent. I just don't see it enough for him. I think he's a player who scores absolutely brilliant goals, but he needs to influence more games by what he actually does. But I'd still give him 9 out of 10. Up front, Danny Ings, a player I liked at Burnley. I question whether he's good enough for Liverpool. I seen him as one of these sort of flip players, bring them on a free, keep them for a year, get a little bit out of them, and then sell them for 4 or 5 million. That's what FSG love, don't they? That's the Moneyball way. He might prove that he's better than that, but I just don't think he's good enough for Liverpool per se. I think he's a hard worker and he'll score goals, but starting striker, I'm not so sure about that. I think Liverpool want more. But then again, Benteke's injured out at the moment, so I'm sure they will get more once he comes back. But I would give him 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 when they sell him and make 4 million on him like they did with Barini. And finally, Daniel Sturridge, absolute class player, absolute class finisher, one of the best finishers, one of the coolest finishers. He's got probably one of the worst celebrations though. I'm sorry, I'm bored of it. He does love Subway though. He's got that going for him. He's a top class player. The only problem is he's consistently injured, and now going forward, is that going to be a trait? Is that going to be what defines the rest of his career? That he can't play a full season, because we've seen when he played the full season with Suarez what kind of player he is. He's absolutely brilliant. He terrifies the life out of me. He's always got a horrible habit of scoring against Everton. So I would give him 9, but I might have to knock that down. I'd give him 9.5, but I might have to knock that down to 9 because of his injuries. But if he was consistently fit, then maybe Liverpool would probably sell him anyway. So big thanks for watching this video of me ranking all the Liverpool players. I've been Ped from Toffee TV for the Redmen. Make sure you subscribe to the Redmen if you haven't already. If you like what we're doing over here, make sure you subscribe to Toffee TV. Leave your comments below. I'm sure you'll have plenty to say about my ratings. I think I've been quite fair on Liverpool players. And thanks for watching. See you again.
It was so good compared to how we expected it to be the season before. The last season was kind of like, why isn't it this good
I think
anymore?
what you noticed last season, probably the difference was that all the teams who sort of play possession football tended to struggle a little bit last season. Teams were starting to work them out, and